Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today, we're going to be talking about sexual compliance, which is getting her to chase you. And I think most people don't miss this because when it comes to seduction, they use seduction as a method of getting attraction, but really, it's not. Doesn't work that way. In fact, attraction and seduction are completely two separate worlds. So when you see them as two separate worlds, it becomes a little bit more exciting when it comes to leading up towards sex. That there's a sequence of doing things. You get attracted to you, and if you're new to this podcast, the reason why attraction is very important. It's you have to look at attraction as though she's got amnesia, that every single day you have to get her to like you again, and you have to be working towards it every single day. In fact, everything that you did yesterday in order for her to like you is completely redundant. Every time she goes to sleep, there's an absolute reset, and then you have to do it again the following day. And when you do so, and you do so regularly without fail, like have discipline towards doing attraction, it becomes so much easier to get it to comply within seduction, which is very important because when it comes to seduction, you have to be a leader within that space. And when you do, she has to be willing to follow you. Now, most people, they wait for her to lead within seduction, and then therefore it stops her from wanting to be in seduction because all of a sudden she doesn't want to lead. In fact, everything before she met you, every conditioning that was put in front of her in terms of sex was always telling her to either close the legs, dress decently, don't look like a slut, don't be. So everything has been telling her in life that she has to be somebody who's followed. She's been conditioned that way. So when it comes to seduction, most of you guys sort of stand in the back, waiting for her to make a move, and then nothing really happens, and you get into this state where you're almost pressuring her to make moves first, and she starts having this real negative association towards sex because again she's not wanting to move in that direction because you're forcing into a position where she was told it was bad. So it's really counterintuitive to where she is. So when it comes to seduction, you have to lead, and this is why it's compliance. You get her to like you so that she's really into you, and then once she's into you, then when you now sexually lead her, she's more inclined to want to follow. And this is very important, guys. And again, most of you guys really mess this up because when it comes to compliance, um, it doesn't mean when it comes to leading. Sorry, when it comes to leading. There's also a little bit about it that is interesting. Is that the leading side of things, you shouldn't look at it as in I'm grabbing her by the wrist and then leading her to the bedroom type thing. It's now also that you have to make it exciting, and then you also have to make it enticing as well. So again, part of the leading is more making it as playful as possible, making it curious, making it almost uh, unattainable to a certain extent. And when you do so, it makes it a little bit exciting. Makes it also builds anticipation within that frame of mind. And the way when I try and explain this to clients, as I talk about our cat, so our cat is very playful sometimes, and we get a cat toy, and as I'm holding it and I'm flicking the toy in front of her, she will go absolute nuts wanting to get this toy, and she'll jump around, and then she will be pouncing onto it. She'll be hiding and doing everything, and you can tell that there's a level of frustration inside it. There's a little bit of appealing to her hunter sort of side of things. She's doing all these things, and she gets real excited when I'm flicking this thing. And you would think that she's desperate to wanting to get this toy, but if I actually give that toy to her, she just loses interest. She's like, "Oh, I've got it now, so I don't give a shit," and she just walks away. And most of us make ourselves so available within the seduction frame. So yes, I told you that you need to get her to like you. Yes, I told you that she needs to be compliant to follow you. But the actual compliance, that, or at least what forces compliance to happen, is the ability to make yourself available, but also make yourself unattainable, which is, yeah, mind-boggling. I mean, there's some nuances to it. Obviously, when it comes to teaching this frame, it's very interesting. The picture can give you, and people that are really good at this, are those people that are like strippers, for example. They're really good at this, where they, if you think of a guy, he's sort of leaning in, and she's holding him by the tie, pulling him in, but she's digging her stiletto into his chest. So she's digging her heels into his chest, but also pulling his tie. And that's the sort of frame that you have to get in when it comes to seduction, that where you are putting enough excitement, which then also builds anticipation within this seduction, which is very important. And I think a lot of this is very important because when you do so, what you're trying to do is that you want her to get into a place where she's emotionally invested. Seduction pretty much works when there is some emotional investment. I think most people neglect this. They just feel like I need her to get to a place where she's horny. So, and again, this is why it becomes a focus on, can I touch her nipples? Can I stimulate her from the externally? Sort of, can I grab a breast? Can I grab her clitoris? Can I rub that? Can I really get her aroused pretty quickly so I can get to the place where we can have sex? That is part of it, but we focus on that, and sort of not allow her to get emotionally invested. So, and I think the reason when people sort of focus on that side of things, it becomes more about your skill and getting an orgasm, and really the value of that is nothing if you don't get her emotionally invested. And I think it's only recently that I started teaching about the emotional investment that I realized that that's why it was so important. That, and I kept saying orgasms was not valuable, but and it's true, it's not valuable because she can have an orgasm for herself if she wanted to, and it might not even take a lot for her. In fact, it might be easier for her in terms of she doesn't have to then deal with the emotional side of you. So, anyways, look at this sidetracked. What makes it powerful is that if she's not emotionally invested into it, she then wants to come back to it because that emotional investment intensifies the orgasm, but also makes that orgasm extremely valuable. So again, this is an important part of it. And again, you having that ability to build anticipation and excitement around it then makes it like a no-brainer for her to come back to it. And this is one of the things that I find interesting when people say that yes, we do have sex on random occasions, and when we do, she orgasms and she's seems excited. And I think this is the turning point, but we end up going for another 6 months without sex, and I don't get what is going on. And that's the reason why, that she's not, when you do, you don't slow down enough to build enough excitement. You don't slow down enough to build anticipation around it. And again, when you're doing the whole seduction process, if she's not emotionally invested, then none of it is valuable. I'm sorry to say it because I know a lot of people. I think um, if you listen to therapists and then listen to other coaches, they will say exactly what you want to hear and what you think you should be hearing. Unfortunately, I really want your relationship to work. I want it to be amazing. I want it to be fulfilling. And sometimes I'm going to share some hard truths, and some people don't like it. Especially when I think recently I went and said to people that orgasms are not that valuable when it comes to a sexless relationship, and everybody went absolutely nuts around it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're in a group where people are sexless, and I'm telling you something that is extremely valuable about changing a sexless relationship. And if you don't, the orgasm isn't that valuable. Like, honestly, it's not that valuable. And if you treat it as such, you'll continue in a sexless relationship. It's only valuable if you can get her emotionally invested, not her specifically, but just in anything in life that you do. If you want uh that person to have ownership of that thing, you have to get them emotionally invested. I cannot ask somebody to invest like money or anything without them emotionally moved by it. In fact, if you think of any purchase that you've made in life that you absolutely love, like a car or your dream car or your dream house or dream something that you've attained, you emotionally invested into it before you actually purchased it, and that's why it's like so important to you. And this is very important, like even the biggest decision you've ever made in terms of um getting married, unless you've been arranged marriage, you need to have emotional investment first before you actually. So you see where I'm getting at. It's not just the sex, but it's very important that we. It's very weird that we neglect that within the interactions of sex, that we do in terms of an emotional investment side of things. We just think, oh, I love you. Say you say I love you and stuff, and then that's probably enough from an emotional standpoint. The rest is now clitoral stimulation and all of the other stuff that you think that is important. That is important, but again, without that emotional investment, the orgasm becomes pretty much uh, unimportant. Within, I think I've hammered this point home as much as I can. I think I'm going to end it right here because I think this is a very important episode to have made. To be honest with you, I was not in that place where I was feeling like making any episodes, but I think this is something that you needed to hear when it comes to seduction, and really starts reframing your mind on how you approach it, and how I think in terms of getting an emotional investment side of things, I want you guys to go to uh, getting some training. I've got a free course that I've created. It's called ultimate the ultimate attraction into seduction playbook. I kind of got it for a second. It shows you 3 secrets on how to change a sexless relationship, and it actually goes deeper into the emotional investment. How do you actually get that emotional investment? And that's the third section, or at least the third secret, which is attraction. So how do you get that emotional investment? And so I want you to go to www.thrivingtribesmen.com / free training, and it should be able to take you straight to the website, and you'll be able to put your email in, and then you get access to the training, and it's free training, and then to give you the next steps on how to fast track some of those results. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.